Hello everyone, welcome back to Super Recaps. Today I will show a comedy movie from 2012 called So Undercover. Molly Morris, a young private investigator, located in Dallas, is the film's protagonist. Her typical clients are women who have disloyal husbands and are looking for evidence that their husbands are cheating on them. The sheriff's wife recently appointed her to investigate him on weekends while he claims to be at work. Molly witnesses him entering a hotel with a lady. She takes pictures but wants more concrete evidence so the guy can't use any fake excuses in the future. She follows the sheriff and sees him entering a penthouse with the woman while her father helps her through a Bluetooth device. Her dad leads her to an unoccupied room, and from there, she climbs inside the penthouse via the balcony. She is found by a third woman while spying on the sheriff in bed, and she realizes that the sheriff had intended to sleep with not one but two girls. He pursues Molly to the rooftop and asks for the camera. When cornered, Molly promises to give the camera but hits the sheriff and flees. After the successful investigation, she leaves on a bike, and we see Molly isn't like the typical girls her age. She does not care for parties, makeup, or dressing up. Instead, she began work early in life, and her trust and love faded after witnessing many bad relationships. Now she is spying on another unfaithful boyfriend at a restaurant. She is confronted by a man who appears to understand what she is doing, and he informs the cheater that the investigator is photographing him, making him leave. The man introduces himself as Armin and says he works for the FBI. He requires Molly's assistance with a highly important case in which she must pose as a college girl and monitor someone. The FBI persons aren't capable of doing this as they don't have a young individual who can pass off as a college girl. Furthermore, the job pays well, which will be very beneficial for Molly because her father is a gambler. However, Molly rejects the offer right away, but Armin asks her to at least hear him out. For the past year, the senator unintentionally collaborated with a mafia leader, but when he discovered the truth, he stopped all of their partnerships. Nevertheless, he is too fearful of putting himself in danger and refuses to testify against the mafia. Max, the senator's daughter, is rumored to have evidence of all the corruption committed by the mafia leader using her father. Molly's task is to track down that evidence and deliver it to the FBI. Furthermore, Max's life is in danger due to the mafia leader, so Molly must stay near her and protect her. To do this, she must join a sorority house called Kappa in their college and befriend Max. Despite hearing everything, Molly still declines the job and leaves on her bike. Later in the evening, her father returns home from the casino, having lost $17,000 in the previous hour. He is ashamed of his gambling addiction and apologizes, but this does not solve their financial problem, so Molly has no other choice but to accept the job Armin talked about. To prepare for the job, she is given a makeover and transformed into a college girl. She is also introduced to sorority slang and updated with all the important info on Max. When she goes to the sorority house, she first meets Cotton, a typical idiot who is always upset by her boyfriend, who verbally abuses her at every opportunity. When Molly tries to defend Cotton, she accuses Molly of spoiling her boyfriend's mood instead. Inside, Molly is greeted by a line of girls singing the sorority's name and accepting her as a sister. Now she meets Sasha, the current leader of the sorority, who is a snobbish two-faced girl who greets Molly sweetly but privately insults her clothes and hair. Molly notices Max walking by and pretends to remember her from a summer camp they attended during school. They quickly become friends, which is one score for Molly. She is then taken to her room and meets her roommate. Once alone, Molly keeps away her new clothes and spy gear. The next morning, she notices a guy working on his bike, who introduces himself as Nicholas. Being a motorbike fanatic herself, she lets her personality shine through and impresses him with her knowledge. However, realizing her error, Molly instantly starts saying random slang and leaves. Despite her hurried escape, Nicholas is still smitten. Later that day, while getting ready for a pageant night in the makeup area, the sorority sisters discover that someone has been stealing stuff around the house. Molly attempts to strike up a discussion with Max by admiring her necklace, but Max becomes guarded and conceals the pendant beneath her shirt. Molly has also installed teddy bear cameras throughout the house to keep tabs on Max. She's been informed that someone has already entered the sorority home using a false name and address to retrieve the proof Max is hiding. Molly detects a shadow behind the glass during the pageant announcement, and she grabs Max to protect her, but it ends up just being a group of frat boys spying on the girls. The curtains catch on fire because of her and the night is spoiled. Molly, Max, and Nicholas become friends the next day at college. Molly has to work hard to keep her true nature hidden because she is used to criticizing everything. She spots Max leaving the house later that day and uses the opportunity to search through her things. She is eventually discovered by her roommate, but she escapes after giving an excuse. Cotton bangs the pan to rouse Molly awake at midnight. Molly wakes up in a panic and ends up pointing a gun at her, but then claims that it's fake. It turns out that it's a ritual to wake up the girls once a month and go to a frat party, so they go along with the tradition. Everything goes smoothly until Nicholas asks Molly out on a date, which she gently declines because she does not want feelings involved while she is working. Molly watches Max talking to Professor Talloway the next day as she walks out of a classroom. Despite the fact that they appear to be quite close for a professor and a student, Molly doesn't give it much thought. When she contacts Armin again, she informs him about Nicholas, who is the only man close to Max, and she also wants him to run a background check on Professor Talloway and Sasha. Molly has noted that Sasha constantly lies, which could just be a nasty mean girl habit, but she wants to be certain. Armin suggests that she go on a date with Nicholas to access his character. Although Molly thinks it's wrong to lead him on, she ends up agreeing. On the date, she starts questioning Nicholas about his childhood and realizes that he is not an awful person as she had assumed. He walks her home, and they kiss each other goodbye. The next day, the sorority girls attempt to sell dolls to collect funds for charity, but they are losing by a mile as their competition is offering car wash services, which is more appealing to people. All of them are disappointed and upset, but when everyone gives up, Molly comes up with a solution. She has noticed a professor hooking up with a student on campus and takes some images of them from a distance and blackmails the professor into purchasing all of the dolls. They win the competition and Molly receives all of the credit. Sasha, who is used to being the center of attention, is enraged by Molly's rise in popularity. She later finds Molly and gifts her a bracelet. Molly finds it odd but wears it anyway, but Sasha's true motives are revealed when Cotton accuses Molly of stealing her bracelet, which has been missing for a week. They then search Molly's room and discover all of their lost stuff inside her bag. Sasha has obviously framed her, but no one believes her. Molly then devises a strategy to teach Sasha a lesson and clear her name. While Sasha's out for a jog, Molly digs through her possessions and uncovers a high school yearbook which reveals her real name is Susie, and she was an ugly introverted girl in high school. Molly feels that because the girl changed her identity, she is the pretender assigned to assassinate Max and take the evidence. She questions her about this, but Sasha admits that she simply changed her name because she was embarrassed by her past self. She was an unattractive nobody in high school with no friends, so she wanted to put her old self behind and have a fresh start in college. Molly believes her and does not use the yearbook picture to blackmail her. Everyone is astonished when Sasha acknowledges in the sorority meeting that she is the thief who framed Molly, but they are pleased with her for acknowledging her wrongdoing and confessing because it is a noble thing to do. Sasha and Molly put aside their disagreements too and become friends. Everything goes swimmingly until Molly catches Max sneaking out of the house and follows her to Professor Talloway's place. It is obvious that he and Max are having relations, which could be because Professor Talloway is the impersonator assigned to kill her. The next day, Molly sees Armin, who discloses that Professor Talloway has nothing to do with the case and that the imposter is Nicholas, whose real name is Patrick. Notwithstanding the evidence against Nicholas, Molly still can't believe it. She had begun to fall for him and is disappointed because he turned out to be a liar. Later that day, the sorority house throws a party, and Nicholas attends too. When she sees him, Molly takes him to a room, ties him, and punches him in the face. She still isn't satisfied, but Max has already left the party, so Molly must go after her. While following her car, Molly ends up at Professor Talloway's house once more. She investigates his house and discovers that he is an FBI agent. This shocks her because wasn't she the one working with an FBI agent? Then a masked man attacks her all of a sudden but flees soon after. Molly figures out that the attacker is her boss, Armin. He fooled her into believing he was with the FBI when, in fact, he wanted to utilize her to get evidence from Max. She leaves and comes across an injured Professor Talloway outside, so she calls the police. She goes to the sorority the next day to discover 2 actual FBI officers awaiting her. She tells them the truth and volunteers to assist them because she knows where the proof is. She then arranges a meeting with Armin, stating that she has discovered the evidence and is willing to trade it for Max, whom he kidnapped the night before. They strike a bargain and agree to meet on campus to swap, but Armin quickly realizes that the evidence Molly offered him is fake. He threatens her with a gun and takes her in the car where Max is also held hostage. He drives them to the sorority, but what Armin doesn't realize is that the sorority sisters are aware of Molly's true identity and are backing her up. As a skilled thief, Sasha steals Armin's car keys with ease and saves Max from his car. Armin drags Molly through the house but Nicholas finds them, and a fight breaks out between them. Armin plans to kill Max by detonating an explosive inside the car and does it too, but no one is hurt because the girls had already rescued Max. Molly's father eventually comes to her help and saves them all. Max hands over an SD card with the evidence, hidden inside her pendant. In the end, Molly enjoys her new life and decides to stay in college with her friends and Nicholas. Thanks for watching. To support the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button and press the bell icon to get new video updates.